There is a moment in the early evening when the house is full and oddly quiet. The television hums low, a kettle clicks off, and footsteps pass behind the couch without stopping. Voices are close enough to hear, but none of them seem to be calling anything in particular. Dinner plates rest in uneven stacks on the counter, still warm at the edges. Someone laughs from another room, the kind of laugh that doesn't need an answer. Light from the kitchen spills into the hallway and stops halfway across the floor. It is not an empty moment, and nothing is missing in any obvious way. Children move in and out, asking small questions, leaving doors open, leaving them open again. Hands stay busy, folding, wiping, straightening things that were already straight. In the middle of it, there is a pause that doesn't announce itself. It sits gently, like standing in a crowded room and realizing no one is looking your way. The house keeps breathing, full and alive, while something inside grows very still. Time moves on without asking, and the room remains occupied by warmth, sound, routine, and the quiet sense of being present without being held by anyone. The table is set again, even though it was just cleared an hour earlier. A cup waits where someone usually sits, filled with water that hasn't been touched. Chairs scrape softly as people come and go, conversations overlapping and thinning out like steam. A child asks for help with something small, a zipper, a question already half answered. An answer comes automatically, hands moving without much thought. The moment passes, leaving behind the sense of having been needed and already returned to the background. There is comfort in how predictable this hour can be. The same sounds repeat themselves: dishes, water, a familiar song from another room. Nothing requires special attention, and nothing asks to be fixed. Standing there, it is possible to feel both surrounded and slightly apart. Everyone is close enough to touch, close enough to hear breathing and small movements. At the same time, there is a quiet distance, like watching a scene you know by heart. The body keeps participating without asking questions. Plates are passed, towels folded, small requests answered with nods or a few words. It is easy to forget that something inside has gone quiet, unnoticed among all the ordinary motions. This is not the kind of loneliness that looks dramatic from the outside. It blends in easily, wearing the same face as responsibility and care. It sits patiently, making room for everyone else first. The room continues to fill with movement and sound. Someone calls a name, another voice answers from down the hall. The house holds all of it without comment. In moments like this, there is often a subtle wish that someone might pause and notice. Not to solve anything, not to ask questions, just to stand nearby without needing an explanation. That wish doesn't push forward, it simply rests. The clock moves on, marking time in a way that feels gentle rather than urgent. The evening stretches, neither heavy nor light. Being here is enough to keep things going. There is a small steadiness in continuing to do what needs doing. It doesn't erase the quiet space inside, but it doesn't make it louder either. It simply allows it to exist alongside everything else. The smell of soap lingers on clean hands. A light clicks off in a room no one is using. The evening keeps settling, layer by layer. Nothing about this hour demands to be named. It is simply lived through, one ordinary minute after another. The presence of others fills the space, even when something personal remains unspoken. The body leans against the counter for a moment longer than necessary. Sounds continue around it, familiar and steady. No one notices the pause, and nothing is disturbed by it. The evening holds its shape. Full, active, and quietly containing more than it shows. The counter stays cool beneath resting hands. Voices fade and return. The room remains open to whatever stays unsaid. Nothing shifts. The evening simply continues. Warm light hums above the counter. Time keeps moving. Later, the house shifts into another version of itself. Shoes are kicked off near the door, bags left where they land. Someone searches for a charger, lifting cushions and sighing softly when it appears where it always does. A child sits on the floor with a screen too bright for the dimming room. Another voice drifts in from outside, carried through an open window along with cooler air. The day loosens its grip, piece by piece. There is a chair that stays empty for a while. Not because anyone is gone, but because no one happens to need it yet. It waits, angled slightly away from the table, patient in a way furniture often is. The body moves through familiar paths. From sink to drawer, from doorway to hallway. Each step knows where it is going before the mind catches up. These movements have been practiced many times, enough to feel almost like rest. Conversation continues without needing full attention. Words pass by, understood without being fully held. Laughter rises and falls, leaving small pockets of quiet behind it. It is possible to stand in the middle of this and feel both useful and unseen. Needed in small, constant ways, yet not quite met by anything that lingers. The feeling doesn't ask for action. It simply stays. A question is asked from another room, answered without looking up. The answer seems to satisfy, at least for now. Footsteps move away again. The light changes as the sun lowers further, softening the edges of everything it touches. Dust drifts through it slowly, unbothered. The room feels fuller and calmer at the same time. There is no obvious reason to leave this space. Nothing pushes, nothing pulls. The evening has a wide, open feeling, like time stretching its arms. Sometimes the quiet inside feels heavier in moments like this, not because anything is wrong, but because there is finally room to notice it. During the louder parts of the day, it hides easily. Here, it becomes more visible, though still unnamed. Hands rest on the back of a chair. The wood is smooth from years of being touched without thought. It carries the marks of ordinary life, small dents, worn edges, nothing worth pointing out. A voice calls from the kitchen, asking if anyone wants tea. A few answers come back, mixed and casual. Water is poured. The kettle begins again. The sound of it fills the room briefly, then settles into the background. The chair remains empty a little longer. There is no urgency in this hour. Nothing needs to be resolved before night arrives. The evening allows things to stay as they are, unfinished, slightly open. Someone passes by and brushes an arm lightly, without stopping. The contact is brief, almost accidental, but it lingers longer than expected. The body remains where it is, breathing evenly. The room continues its gentle rhythm. Outside, the light fades further. Inside, the house holds its quiet fullness. As the evening deepens, the house grows less busy without ever becoming empty. Screens dim or go dark. A door closes somewhere down the hall, not loudly, just enough to mark a shift. The air cools slightly, carrying the quiet weight of night beginning. The kitchen light stays on. It always does. It casts a small island of brightness that feels separate from the rest of the house. Cups sit where they were left, a thin ring of tea drying at the bottom of one. This is the hour when movement slows. Not because anyone decides to slow it, but because the day has already taken most of what it needed. Steps are softer now. Voices lower without being asked. A child passes through, pausing briefly in the doorway, then continuing on without saying anything. The moment feels complete as it is. No explanation needed. Standing near the counter, there is a sense of being suspended between tasks. Nothing urgently calls for attention. Nothing fully releases it either. Hands rest on the cool surface, grounding without effort. The quiet inside becomes easier to sit with here. It doesn't press as hard. It feels less like absence and more like space. Space that has been cleared naturally, without anyone meaning to. From the living room comes the faint sound of something being watched, a steady rhythm of dialogue and music that blends into one soft layer. It doesn't pull focus. It simply exists. Breathing becomes more noticeable in moments like this. Not something to manage or adjust, just something that is happening, steady and unremarkable. The body knows how to stay. There is a comfort in not needing to respond to every sound. A comfort in letting conversations pass by without stepping into them. Presence doesn't require performance here. The refrigerator hums quietly. Pipes click once as water cools. These sounds have been part of so many evenings that they feel almost like company. The sense of being unseen softens. Not because someone suddenly notices, but because the need to be noticed fades slightly. Being here is enough for now. A dish towel is folded again, more out of habit than necessity. Its warmth has faded. It is placed back where it belongs. This hour does not ask for reflection. It does not invite conclusions. It simply offers a place to stand without leaning in any direction. Light gathers on the floor near the doorway. Shadows stretch but remain gentle, familiar shapes that don't surprise anyone anymore. Someone coughs softly in another room. Another person shifts in their seat. The house adjusts around these small movements without comment. The quiet feels shared, even if it isn't spoken about. It settles into the corners, into the spaces between words. Time slows, not dramatically, just enough to be felt. The evening continues to hold everything it needs to, including the parts that stay unnamed. The counter remains cool under resting hands. The kitchen light hums. The house breathes on. The house settles further into itself as night arrives without ceremony. A lamp is switched on in the corner, its light softer than the overhead glow, creating a smaller circle to stand within. The rest of the room recedes gently, still present but less demanding. A blanket lies folded over the back of the couch. It has been there all evening, waiting without intention. Someone sits down and pulls it closer, not fully wrapping themselves in it, just enough to feel its weight. The air feels different now. Cooler, slower. Sounds carry a little farther, but there are fewer of them. The television is off. A phone rests face down on the table, forgotten. This is a quieter kind of togetherness. People share the same space without crossing into one another's attention. Everyone seems held by their own small world, close enough to touch, far enough to remain undisturbed. Sitting here, the body no longer searches for the next task. Muscles loosen slightly. Shoulders drop without being noticed. The rhythm of the house does the work of slowing everything down. There is a familiarity to this hour that doesn't need to be named. It has happened many times before. It will happen again. That knowing brings a small sense of ease. The quiet inside no longer feels separate from the room. It blends in, becoming part of the overall stillness. Nothing pushes it away. Nothing highlights it either. From outside comes the distant sound of a car passing, tires moving over pavement with a steady hush. The sound fades quickly, leaving the night intact. A child shifts in their sleep in the next room. A blanket is adjusted. The movement is careful, practiced, done without fully waking. The lamp casts long shadows that move slightly as people adjust their positions. The shapes are soft, unremarkable. They feel familiar, like old furniture. There is space here to simply be present without contributing anything. No answers required. No role needing to be filled. Breathing slows on its own. The body follows the room's pace, not the other way around. Time stretches quietly, no longer measured by tasks. A glass of water sits untouched on the table. Condensation gathers at its base, forming a small ring. No one notices when it happens. The feeling of being alone among others softens further. Not because it disappears, but because it is held within something larger and calmer. The night deepens outside the windows. Inside, the lamp continues to glow, steady and unassuming. Nothing new enters the room. Nothing leaves. The moment remains open, unmarked by explanation. Stillness settles more fully now. The house rests. Later still, the house grows quieter in a way that feels earned. Doors are mostly closed now. The sounds that remain are small and intermittent, a floorboard settling, a distant murmur from a room not yet asleep. The kitchen light is finally turned off. Only the lamp remains, casting a softer, narrower glow. Shadows deepen, but nothing feels hidden. Everything is where it usually is. There is a chair pulled slightly away from the wall, angled just enough to invite sitting. The body settles into it without thinking, as if the evening has been leading here all along. The fabric is cool at first, then slowly warms. This hour holds a different kind of quiet. Not the pause between tasks, but the quiet that comes after most things have already been done. It doesn't ask for completion. It allows things to stay unfinished. Thoughts drift in without much shape. They don't stay long. They pass through like the sounds in the house, noticed but not followed. There is no need to gather them into anything meaningful. From somewhere down the hall comes the soft rhythm of breathing, steady and unremarkable. It blends with the room's stillness, another sign that the night is settling properly. The sense of being surrounded by people remains, even though no one is speaking. It feels quieter now, less demanding. Togetherness without interaction. Hands rest in the lap, empty. No object to hold, no task to return to. The body feels supported by the chair, by the floor beneath it, by the simple fact of being here. The quiet inside feels wide now. Not heavy. Not urgent. Just open. It does not need to be filled. Outside, the street is mostly still. A single light remains on across the way, a small square of brightness in an otherwise dark stretch. It doesn't draw attention. It simply exists. Time feels less like a line and more like a pool, deep and slow. There is no rush to move forward. No pull backward either. A clock ticks softly from another room. The sound is gentle, almost reassuring. Each second passes without comment. The feeling of loneliness, if it can still be called that, has changed shape. It no longer presses inward. It sits alongside everything else, one presence among many. The night air cools the room slightly. A blanket is pulled closer, not all the way, just enough to feel its edge. Nothing needs to be said at this hour. Words would feel too sharp, too defined. Silence fits better. The lamp continues to glow. Breathing stays steady. The house holds. Much later, the house reaches the kind of quiet that feels complete. Not empty, not tense. Just finished with the day. Most lights are off now, leaving only a faint glow from a hallway nightlight, barely enough to outline the floor. The chair is left where it was. The blanket slips slightly as the body shifts, then settles again. Nothing needs adjusting further. Outside the window, the dark feels settled too. No passing cars. No voices drifting through. Just the steady presence of night holding everything in place. Breathing is slow and even. It moves without being noticed, without asking permission. The body rests into itself, supported by the stillness around it. The sense of being alone in a full room has thinned into something quieter. Not gone, but no longer sharp. It feels distant now, like a thought that arrived earlier and stayed longer than expected, then softened on its own. From down the hall comes a small sound, someone turning over in sleep. The mattress responds. The sound fades quickly, leaving the house unchanged. This hour does not invite memory or anticipation. It stays firmly where it is. There is nothing to prepare for. nothing to revisit. The clock continues its soft ticking. Each sound is spaced far enough apart to feel gentle. Time moves, but it does not hurry. Hands rest loosely, fingers slightly curled. There is no need to hold onto anything. The chair supports. The floor supports. The quiet supports. The feeling inside has room now. Room to exist without explanation. Room to fade or remain, without consequence. The house seems to exhale. Pipes settle. Walls cool. The structure itself appears to rest. There is a sense of being held by something larger than conversation or attention. Not by words. Not by understanding. Just by presence. Eyes close briefly, then open again. The room looks the same. Nothing has shifted. That sameness feels reassuring. Night continues outside the windows, deep and uninterrupted. Inside, the stillness remains intact. Nothing needs to happen next. The body stays. The house stays. The quiet stays. Near midnight, the house holds a final, gentle shape. The hallway light stays on, dim and patient. A door is almost closed, leaving a thin line of brightness on the floor. The chair waits where it was left. The blanket slips once more, then stays. Breathing continues, steady and unremarkable. From outside comes the faintest sound of wind, passing and gone. Inside, nothing answers it. The room does not need to. Time loosens its grip here. Minutes pass without asking to be counted. The clock keeps its distance. There is a feeling that rests without a name. It does not ask for company. It does not push anyone away. Lights beyond the window remain scattered and still. One turns off. Another stays. Hands rest, empty and warm. The floor holds its quiet temperature. The air feels settled. Nothing gathers toward meaning. Nothing asks to be carried forward. The night stays wide enough for everything already here. The house stands, familiar and unchanged. The body stays where it is. Sleep waits nearby, unhurried. For a moment longer, there is only this. Then even that does not need to be noticed. Nothing needs to change before morning arrives. The quiet remains kind without trying. It stays long enough. Somewhere, a floor creaks and settles again. Nothing follows. Nothing begins. The night keeps its promise by not speaking. The house keeps its shape. Breath moves, and keeps moving. That is enough for now. The moment closes softly, without sound or sign. It remains complete, exactly as it is. Still and steady. Enough now.